Ladies and gentlemen, today we live in a world where we are responsible for our actions. We suffer the consequences, we do some actions knowing what will happen. Ladies and gentlemen, by implementing this motion, we are going to bring this value to the world of research, a world that doesn't obey this rule that we have set throughout the ages. I'm going to structure my speech as it follows. Firstly, I'm going to give a model and give some definitions. Secondly, I'm going to present my own part of the case of the substantive, namely the awareness point, and eventually the research globalization, while Moise will present you the third argument about love and what does love require generally. Trust. Well, how exactly do we want to implement this motion? Well, it is fairly simple. Every single country in this world is going to select one of their top scientists, and they are going to form some sort of a council. Namely, if one country wants to develop something, maybe a weapon, maybe a type of research that will endanger the whole world, then we are going to have this council assess the danger level that research is going to pose on our world, and basically give a yes or no. The system will be fairly simple. If one single country will veto, then therefore the motion, the research will not pass. But we reckon the fact that, well, these vetoes will not happen so often, because countries, especially when there is a huge consensus on a global scale that, well, something may be beneficial towards the global economy and towards the globalization, well, that country will face the scrutiny of being politically asked by other countries to generally agree with something. Therefore, we believe that this veto right will not be abused. Secondly, why do we understand by these projects that are dangerous for the whole world? Well, when at the LHC in Geneva, ladies and gentlemen, there was some scientists that said that by colliding two protons, it is the tiny thread of a black hole creating and swallowing us. Well, this might sound ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen, but in the future we may have even more research projects that basically will go towards the same way. And we believe, ladies and gentlemen, that at the end of the day we need such a council with all these scientists. And ladies and gentlemen, we believe that the world evolved on the basis of one simple principle. I'm responsible for my action. I am here, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you because I wanted to be here. I'm not the collateral damage that Moise and Mihai brought me here. We want to avoid the collateral damage, ladies and gentlemen, that will occur to some specific citizens that didn't agree from the get-go, ladies and gentlemen, to one specific project. Namely, we want to eliminate even the tiny threat of 0.1% of, I don't know, human casualties, or even managing slightly the environment, such as the hole in the ozone layer. We want the people basically to be as safe as possible and to eliminate something they did not vote for, they did not express their opinion on, and basically they are at danger just because one of the greedy states really decided that it is their way. Also, by implementing this motion, then local research is going to receive some sort of a feedback from people, because generally the huge projects, and we are talking here about the Manhattan Project, ladies and gentlemen, are kept under the secret, are kept behind locked doors. And what happens is that people cannot really express their opinion on the research that is carried on there. They have absolutely no clue whether that specific project is going to be beneficial or not beneficial for them. We see that by the very fact that these scientists are going to bring information, generally assess a certain research study, then they are going to bring back to their own countries the information. Therefore, the citizens of the country can express their opinions and not be a threat. If they agree, then probably that scientist will, by objectively measuring the dangers, because we are talking about science, ladies and gentlemen, and we can assess the dangers in science, then therefore we are going to live in a world based on causality. Moving on to the cooperation point, ladies and gentlemen, and why would countries be incentivized to join and agree? Well, because all of them are going to have benefits. Namely, when we have agents all over the world working together on the same project, on the same advanced technology that it is so huge that can pose a threat on the whole world, ladies and gentlemen, then we believe that it should be for something big, for something that can change radically the way we perceive even the universe. Therefore, by having access to the information that we gather by the very fact of that research, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that that's what brings countries together. And we see that this happens in the status quo. We see that the LHC are thousands and thousands of scientists that basically get together and express their opinion on the Large Hadron Collider, ladies and gentlemen. Also, moving on to the morality point and how this is fair. Let's look at which countries exactly. Okay, I'm going to stop and take the PI.
Would you consider that Nazi experiments on living Jews had a global impact, a dangerous global impact?
Sir, no. We're talking here about things that affect us whole, ladies and gentlemen. And we do not believe that the Nazi experiments will happen in the future, because we have human rights organizations who are having, and any single institution that is going to pose a threat to the human rights is not going to exist in today's society. Now, moving on, we see that in the status quo there are huge gaps between countries, ladies and gentlemen. And who is there to have such an advanced technology to develop such a profound research towards the global? Well, we have USA, we have China, and possibly Russia. Therefore, by letting them alone have this technology, we see that their power is going to increase more and more and more. Just the USA invested thousands and thousands of US dollars for their development in crops. We see that if this technology is really groundbreaking, they are going to profit more and more and more, and basically take a monopoly on the resources of the world. We do not want the gap to become bigger than Mariana's Trench, ladies and gentlemen. We want something fairly equal in the global scale, ladies and gentlemen. Now, moving on to the research globalization and how exactly it would be better even for the research if we implemented this motion. We believe that it is faster. When we're talking about something as huge as global threatening, we are speaking about things that are big, and generally big ideas require a lot of people there. By bringing the best scientists together, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to believe to work as efficient as possible. And not only efficient, but also safety. Because we have seen in Japan, in the Fukushima accident, that even though the Japanese are awesome and stuff, and generally have this thing for technology, they failed, ladies and gentlemen, to assure that even in case of the earthquake, the Fukushima reactor will not simply crack down and leak, ladies and gentlemen, posing a threat on that. Therefore, we consider that by having a huge consensus of a lot of people, these threats are going to be eliminated, because we see the issue from more points of view which converge towards the right idea. Because that's we have the first at the end of the day. And generally for the global benefit, ladies and gentlemen, and for having an equal economy and stopping the huge countries becoming huger and the tiny ones going slowly down and becoming an enclave of the big ones, please approve this motion.